the team is still moving forward on the Pennsylvania challenge at the Supreme Court. These are the same challenges that the state court there dismissed. Of course, they were the court that did it, where the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, without the legislature, allowed these mail-in ballots with no addresses, sometimes with no dates. We actually have a stay at the AC through the work we've done through Justice Alito at the court that may require briefing later in January on the mail-in ballots that came in late. They are still being told to keep those segregated and not counted. Now, that's not enough to change the outcome in Pennsylvania, it doesn't look like, but the Supreme Court has taken action there. The other issues here, of course, are the fact that they wouldn't let the ballots be challenged while they were counting them from the election observers. Again, these corrections that were allowed to be made, the no date, the no address, and yes, there are correction procedures, but we pointed out how those were not the same from county to county. And all of this, the big point was not so much to say there was fraud. I think from the Trump legal team, we're looking at the Constitution, Article 2, it's state legislature's role if they want to make these changes, not the state judiciary. So it's at the Supreme Court.
So, Jordan,
we haven't heard yet if they're going to require briefing on this. And again, but I think it's just very important that all these challenges move forward as far as possible.
So the big question is, can that change the outcome of the election? And this is just one state. You need at least 3 of them on board.
Well, I look at it like this. If the court is more open to standing on this issue, Grant, because of who brought the challenge, remember that case that made it all the way to the Supreme Court, the 4 cases, was really thrown out on standing principles. If it can survive that, then you could bring this from Georgia. You could bring it from Wisconsin. You could bring something similar from Michigan, pointing out where the courts outside of the legislative process, which all those states have the similar laws, were making up the rules as the election was coming close. And they were telling the Trump campaign and the RNC as we were filing the lawsuits, you're filing them too early. Then they were telling us now, they're filed too late because people relied on this. Now, that is what we have to watch out from the Supreme Court. There is some precedent there. It's called the Purcell rule, and that's if voters relied on the law and followed it as best they could in their state. The court is more weary of throwing the ballots out in a case like this. But if we can get past the standing issue, I think it's significant. And you could kind of duplicate this in other states. But I do want to go back because I know this discussion. I know Pat Cipollone very well, Grant, and I've worked with Pat through the Mueller investigation, through the impeachment when him and my dad, and I was at the table at the impeachment trial the entire time, led the defense of the president. There is no way Pat Cipollone is doing anything or leaking anything as White House counsel to damage the president. There may be somebody in that room. I'm not saying that, but I think to put the blame on some of these actors who may have just been raising legal issues with the president is not to say, and by the way, the meetings with the president get pretty heated, Grant, sometimes. This is a guy who likes the back and forth.
Yeah, I understand it. And look, there's no one knows who the heck the leaker is in all of this, but clearly somebody in the White House is leaking somebody. Somebody in that room leaked something, and this has been an issue for quite a long time coming out of the White House, and it's been upsetting to me. It's got to be upsetting to the president as well. Jordan Sekulow, keep up the fight. As always, we're always eager for information from your team, so thank you for coming on.